As ever, Harry's relationship with his family continues to be incredibly difficult and incredibly tense. William and Charles have now reached the stage where they do not want to meet with Harry in private because they are so worried that what he might be told during those behind-the-scenes meetings will end up in a book, will end up in a document.
January 2026. The whole world is watching, cameras everywhere, eyes locked in. William and Catherine walk into a hospital in West London, and right away, something feels off in a big way. The posture, the calm confidence, the way the room shifts the second they arrive. This is not a routine royal walkthrough, and everyone there can feel it. This is the future King and Queen of England stepping in like the crown is already theirs. No hesitation, no soft launch energy. And behind palace doors, whispers are flying fast, the kind that have royal watchers glued to their screens. Insiders say this wasn't just symbolic. This was the first time William and Catherine showed up fully acting as monarch and consort, not rehearsing, not pretending.
Believing a word coming out of Meghan Markle's mouth about my royal family. Now, most people now agree with me about the veracity of what comes out of her mouth. But at the time, this was deemed so controversial that my company, rather than defending my right to free speech, the network said, you've either apologized.
They weren't practicing for the job anymore. They were doing it. Palace sources say plans have quietly sped up, and here's where it gets wild. King Charles has reportedly granted them new authority power no Prince and Princess of Wales have touched in over 100 years. Power that lets them operate almost like co-monarchs across major duties. And the timing. That's what's making people nervous. When a sitting king hands over this much control while still alive and active, that's not standard royal behavior. That's not tradition. That's real-time succession planning playing out in public view. So people are asking the hard questions now. Is Charles bracing for something big? Is his health more serious than the palace admits? Because when the heir suddenly moves with this level of command, something serious is shifting behind those palace gates.
King Charles breaking his silence on his, quote, frightening experience with cancer. The monarch diagnosed with an unspecified form of the disease in February of last year, now making his first ever comments about his battle as he and Queen Camilla host a reception for the cancer community at Buckingham Palace.
Now let's talk about the hospital visit itself, because every detail matters. January 9th, 2026. William and Catherine arrive at Charing Cross Hospital with zero warning. No heads up to staff, no prepared patients, no polished photo op setup. They just walked in like they belonged there. And that shocked people. What grabbed attention fast was William's tone, calm, direct, grounded. He spoke to staff with real authority, not stiff royal lines. He opened up about Catherine's cancer journey, talked about his air ambulance work, and connected with healthcare workers in a way that felt real and present. This wasn't future king energy. This felt like a reigning monarch checking on his people.
And they also crumbled because Meghan Markle wrote to the female chief executive of ITV, my top boss, and demanded she fire me. That happened overnight. And so I was told, look, either you apologise or you can't come back. I said, what am I apologising for? I said, I mean it. They said, no, we know you do. Can you not just say sorry? I went, why? Something I believe. I don't believe her.
Catherine spent time with a volunteer who supports chemotherapy patients. She listened closely as stories poured out about long treatment days and emotional exhaustion. After her own cancer battle just a year earlier, she wasn't distant or protected. She leaned in, using lived experience to connect in a way no briefing note could teach. People in the room felt it immediately. One staff member later told friends that William and Catherine didn't feel like they were preparing for the crown. They felt like they already wore it. Not getting ready, already there. The couple even sat with NHS workers during their tea break, asked real questions about winter pressures, staffing strain, and burnout. They talked openly about how charities help ease the system's load. Every exchange carried weight, confidence, and control you can't fake.
The King's been in hospital recently because he had a procedure for benign prostate enlargement, otherwise known as benign prostatic hyperplasia or BPH. On further investigation, they found that there is a cancer which he's currently undergoing treatment for, but it's not prostate cancer, which is the most common cancer in.
Word moving through palace circles is that King Charles personally pushed for this visit. He wanted the country to see what's next. At 77, after a year battling cancer, the message felt loud without being spoken. Something is changing. Fast! And the monarchy may be shifting right in front of us. Charles knows the clock is ticking, and he's making sure William and Catherine are ready. This isn't a casual prep. He's moving deliberately to set them up for real authority. Now, the behind-the-scenes stuff is where it gets really intense. Spring 2026, just a few months from now, William and Catherine officially become grantors of royal warrants. That means they can officially endorse brands and businesses with the royal seal of approval. And this isn't some ceremonial fluff. Royal warrants are serious business in Britain.
So I got this direct message from Meghan Markle.
A private message?
Yeah. And it said, hey, I'm a big fan, and I'm so excited you're following me. And this is
She said to you?
It was about 3 years ago. And I replied, and we corresponded.
When a palace stamp hits a product, that brand instantly gains credibility. Sales spike, reputation skyrockets, and the company becomes part of royal heritage. Businesses spend millions just to get this recognition. Here's the twist. Traditionally, only the reigning monarch and their spouse have this power. Charles and Camilla hold it right now. No heirs ever receive it while the king is still active. That's how the rules have worked for centuries. Except now it doesn't. Charles has broken protocol, giving William and Catherine powers they shouldn't yet have. Powers that make them almost co-monarchs in the commercial and public arena. Sources suggest Charles wants a smooth transition, letting the public get used to William and Catherine operating like the monarchs they will soon become. It's smart strategy, but it also hints that Charles thinks the succession could arrive sooner than expected. Catherine becomes the first Princess of Wales to grant royal warrants in 116 years.
Still holding the Privy Council meetings, still going to receive his red boxes, but he's not going to be out in public. And a large part of the role as a monarch is being seen. You have to be seen to be believed, as the late Queen used to say.
The last woman to do it was Queen Mary in 1910, right before her husband became King George V. The pattern is clear. Woman gets this power, then becomes queen. History might be repeating itself in real time. What drives people crazy about media coverage of the hospital visit is what they missed. Everyone zoomed in on smiles, handshakes, and cute moments, but no one paid attention to what William actually said. And his words reveal everything about his mindset. He spoke about the bond between patient and caregiver, calling it heartwarming and essential to acknowledge and appreciate what happens in the NHS. That's king talk, not air talk. It's not casual comments. It's a man speaking as if he's already responsible for the well-being of the people. He referenced his air ambulance work and Catherine's health journey, linking them to the importance of this visit and creating a story around shared struggle and shared humanity.
William has been stung by this criticism from his brother and sister-in-law and felt on this one, he was going to answer.
Well, absolutely. You can understand his frustration that all of this shade is being thrown at him through this Oprah interview, and to remain silent.
Catherine reinforced it perfectly. She told staff that the amazing work being done makes a real difference in patients' lives. Simple words, but delivered with the authority of someone whose voice carries the weight of the crown. The staff responded immediately. You could see it in their reactions, the respect in their eyes. They weren't seeing a future king or queen someday, they were seeing their monarchs right now. And that shift in perception is exactly what the palace intended. That's the whole point of these appearances. Here's the real story behind the palace moves. Nothing is accidental. Every step, every public appearance is carefully calculated for maximum effect. 2025 was brutal for the royal family. Charles was battling cancer, Catherine was battling cancer, and the whole succession question hung over everything. The public wondered if the monarchy could survive another transition and whether William and Catherine were truly ready. The palace answered by speeding up their preparation. They gave William and Catherine real power and visibility. They put them in public, acting at monarch level.
She'd email me from, places like Rwanda. I thought we had a good sort of friendship building. She then said, I'm coming to London to watch the tennis with Serena Williams, who's her friend, and I know Serena well too. And she said, would you like to meet up for a drink? I said, come to my local pub, I'm an Irishman, come to my pub. So she came to my local.
They let the country see what the future looks like. Could they operate like this while Charles is still alive? That's the point, making the transition feel smooth, not sudden. Royal expert Hilary Ford Witch told the media that William and Catherine were being groomed with an accelerated schedule of preparation. That word matters. Accelerated, faster than usual. That signals something changed behind the scenes. Insiders whisper that Charles wants the succession plan locked in before his health declines further. He wants William and Catherine so embedded in their roles that when the transition happens, it feels natural, like they've been doing this job for years and the public accepts it without question. Polls show William and Catherine are the most popular royals. People want them on the throne. They're young, relatable, modern. Catherine survived cancer and came back stronger. William speaks openly about mental health and climate change. They represent monarchy for this generation. The palace is letting them step further into the spotlight, operating as if they're already king and queen in every meaningful way. Watching the public reaction confirms the strategy is working. Catherine's cancer battle changed everything. It didn't just affect her health, it reshaped how the public sees her, how William sees their role, and how the entire succession plan is unfolding.
Yes, he definitely set the tone for this. And you just get the feeling, well, this is going to be something different when he finally takes the throne.
Well, interestingly, and I thought there was a real strength when he mentioned it a couple of times, but when he did sit with you in the pub over the pint and he talked about change.
Catherine went through chemotherapy, took months off, and returned in remission in January 2025. That's barely a year ago, and now she's out there visiting hospitals, hosting rugby receptions, and filling her schedule with engagements. But she's doing it differently. Sources say she's selective, focused on meaningful work, leaving room for family. Not the old pace of endless generic royal appearances. Every appearance now has purpose. Her cancer journey gave her credibility. She knows what it's like to sit in hospital chairs facing uncertainty. When she speaks to cancer patients, it's not just sympathy, it's lived experience. That authenticity is invaluable for the monarchy, because the biggest criticism they face is being out of touch. Catherine proves she's not immune to real struggles, and she's surviving with grace and dignity. That's queen material. And for William, watching his wife face cancer while his father battled it at the same time, it's heavy. That kind of experience changes a man. It shapes how he leads, how he connects with people, and how he carries the weight of future kingship. Sources close to William say his wife's cancer journey and his father's health struggles made him more determined to use his position for good. It reminded him life is short and the time to act is now, not someday when he officially becomes king. That's why you're seeing him step up harder, take on more responsibility, and speak with authority. He's not waiting anymore. He's acting like the king he's about to become. Now let's break down why the royal warrants are such a big deal. Most people don't understand. This isn't just about endorsing fancy brands. This is real economic power. It's about shaping British commerce, deciding which businesses get royal backing and which don't. When Catherine endorses a fashion brand with a royal warrant, that brand explodes. The Kate effect is already the most powerful commercial force in UK fashion. Anything she wears sells out instantly.
I, William, Prince of Wales, pledge my loyalty to you, and faith and truth I will bear unto you, as your liege man of life and limb. So help me God.
Now, add official royal endorsement to that influence, and it becomes a force that moves the economy. And it's not just fashion. Royal warrants cover everything: food, technology, manufacturing. William and Catherine will have the ability to shape which products the British trust, which companies thrive, and which industries receive royal backing. Sources indicate they plan to use this strategically, highlighting British craftsmanship, sustainable businesses, and companies that do social good, not just handing approval to whoever pays the most or has the fanciest products. Catherine has already shown this approach works. Her September 2025 visit to Heritage Mills highlighted British textile craftsmanship, gained massive media attention, and boosted local manufacturing interest. Now imagine having that impact backed by an official royal warrant. Here's the clever part. By building credibility now, while still Prince and Princess of Wales, they establish trust before officially becoming king and queen. When the succession happens, people already see them as capable leaders. Royal expert Giovanna told The Times that Catherine will be a queen who really listens. She leans in, understands what's happening, and doesn't just act as a ceremonial figurehead. That ability to listen is exactly what a modern monarchy needs. People want connection, they want to feel heard. Catherine's interactions, especially with children and families, show genuine interest and empathy. Giovanna also said William and Catherine are stepping into their future roles with eyes wide open. They understand the monarchy must evolve to survive, and they're ready to lead that change. Another royal expert, Robert Jobson, noted that Catherine's diary for 2026 is already filling up, but she won't return to her old pace. She's learned from her cancer experience that family and health come first, and everything else builds around that. It's refreshing honesty. royals rarely admit that old routines nearly broke them. Protecting her well-being is now part of how she'll be effective. That's modern queen thinking, and the public responds to it. People see Catherine being real about her limitations, needing balance, and putting her children first. That relatability is human and connects the public to her as a future queen.
And that change would be on the agenda. And that he's not fearful of that. I thought that was quite an interesting conversation. What did you take from that in that?
Well, my sense was that it is kind of going to be reinvigorated.
Now, something that doesn't get enough attention, Prince George. The way his parents are balancing family and royal duty is shaping how he experiences royal life. Prince George is being groomed for kingship faster than any heir in modern history. At the VE Day tea party with his parents, he showed maturity and empathy beyond his years. Experts note he's clearly learning the ropes from William and Catherine, preparing for the responsibilities that await him as future king. What's fascinating is the bigger picture. By putting George in public more, letting people see him grow into the role, the palace is creating 3 generations of succession security. Charles, then William and Catherine, and eventually George. The monarchy's future is being locked in for decades. Sources say George will attend the World Cup in the United States in summer 2026 with his family. This high-profile international event will serve as another step in his preparation, while also giving William and Catherine a global stage to act as if they're already king and queen. So why is all of this accelerating in January 2026? Why the new powers, the monarch-level appearances, the strategic moves? Connect the dots, and it makes sense. Charles is 77. He battled cancer in 2025. He's still working hard, over 500 engagements last year alone. But he knows he's not getting younger. He knows succession is coming. By giving William and Catherine these powers now, and letting them operate at this level, Charles ensures the transition will be smooth. Whether it happens in 5 months or 5 years, the public will be ready. The transition will feel natural, not sudden. Internationally, it sends a clear message. Britain's monarchy isn't faltering with an aging king. It has young, capable leaders waiting in line. William and Catherine represent modern Britain, progressive, forward-thinking, and connected to younger generations. Looking ahead, spring 2026 marks another milestone. William and Catherine officially become grantors of royal warrants. That's the formal step where they move from heirs to acting co-monarchs in practice. Then summer brings the World Cup trip to the US, a high-profile event with a global audience, showing the world what the future British monarchy looks like. And throughout the year, they'll continue operating at monarch level in all but name. Expect more of these confidence-driven appearances, more moments where William and Catherine demonstrate authority, and more preparation for a succession that could come at any time. The public is ready. Polls show overwhelming support. They want William and Catherine on the throne. They want the change and energy they represent. King Charles is making sure that when his time comes, the transition is seamless. William and Catherine won't have to scramble. They'll already be performing as king and queen, already have public backing, and already possess the skills and confidence needed. That hospital visit wasn't just about being kind to NHS workers. It was a clear message. The future king and queen are here, ready to lead, and Britain is already on board. If you watch this and have thoughts, drop them in the comments below. If this breakdown made you see things differently, hit subscribe and stay locked in for more deep dives like this. Don't forget to like the video and share it with someone who needs to see it.